From the moment Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's relationship became public, the couple has faced scrutiny like no other members of the British royal family. But it is perhaps their children, Archie and later, Lilibet, who have been subjected to some of the most damaging and racially charged media coverage. The British press has made their lives, even before their births, the subject of deep prejudice. This isn't just about traditional media speculation on royal babies, it's about the intersection of race, identity, and the way Meghan's children have been treated in the public eye. In this script, we'll explore how the British press, especially figures like Arthur Edwards, have racially targeted Meghan's children, from the moment Meghan was pregnant with Archie to the ongoing challenges the Sussex family faces today. When Meghan Markle announced that she was expecting her first child with Prince Harry, the media reaction was immediate and intense. While royal pregnancies are always met with eager attention, Meghan's pregnancy was different. The first issue came before Archie was even born. As a biracial woman, Meghan faced questioning about her identity and how it would affect her child. Even before Meghan's pregnancy was made public, racist undertones started to emerge. One of the most shocking examples of how the press framed Meghan's pregnancy came when there was rampant speculation about what her child would look like, based purely on her biracial background. The British press, known for sensationalizing royal stories, latched onto this racial angle and seemed obsessed with how dark Meghan's baby would be. Some outlets went so far as to question whether Meghan and Harry would be able to handle a black child. Arthur Edwards, a royal photographer for The Sun, became one of the most visible figures in perpetuating such narratives. Edwards, despite his role in capturing intimate moments of the royal family, has been known to speak out publicly about his opinions, and his commentary surrounding Meghan's pregnancy was no exception. Edwards was one of many media figures who speculated about the potential racial implications of Meghan's child's skin color, often echoing a racially insensitive rhetoric about the child's place in the royal family. In 2019, when Archie was born, the media circus surrounding his arrival intensified. Arthur Edwards, in line with many other British tabloids, continued to focus on the child's race rather than the joy of his birth. As much of the media fixated on the question of how dark Archie might be, Edwards' position in the royal press pool made him complicit in giving voice to these racial speculations. Instead of celebrating the birth of a new royal, Edwards and others in the press sought to highlight racial divisions, framing Archie's existence in terms of skin color and the legacy of the monarchy. When Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor was born in May 2019, the media attention reached new extremes. Even the simplest details about the newborn were twisted into racial issues. One of the most glaring examples was how the press ignored the significance of the birth in favor of continuing to comment on the skin color of the child. Articles began appearing with uncomfortable headlines, such as "The royal baby's skin color" and "How dark will the baby be?" This focus on Archie's race, even before he had a chance to live in the world, was a stark reminder of the deep-rooted racism that Meghan and her child would face. Rather than celebrating the birth of a new royal family member, the press chose to perpetuate racial stereotypes and encourage debates about Archie's skin color as if it were the most important detail about his arrival. Arthur Edwards, who had been a part of the press team for decades, was not immune to making racially charged comments. His public remarks, alongside the tabloids he worked with, reflected a disturbing attitude about Meghan's role in the royal family and the potential place of her child within it. His support for a narrative that focused on race and legitimacy within the monarchy contributed to the ongoing racialization of the Sussexes and their children. As Archie grew, so did the media's obsession with how Harry and Meghan were raising him, but this obsession was often filtered through a racialized lens. Meghan, a mother with a diverse background, was constantly scrutinized for her parenting choices. Every move was under a microscope, and every detail was often viewed with suspicion and disdain. The media didn't just question her parenting, they questioned her right to be a mother at all. In particular, the press took issue with the fact that Meghan and Harry sought to raise their children outside the royal spotlight, wanting them to have a private and normal childhood. Rather than respecting their decision, the media framed this as a royal snub. More alarmingly, media outlets continued to perpetuate a narrative that Meghan was somehow too American, too out of touch, or not royal enough to raise a child of the monarchy. This type of scrutiny, framed by racial prejudices, was not something the other royal mothers, such as Kate Middleton, were subjected to in the same way. Arthur Edwards, known for his close relationship with the royal family, has been vocal about his opinions on the Sussexes. While his role as a royal photographer has allowed him access to important events, his commentary, especially on the way Meghan and Harry were raising their children, has often been shaped by problematic stereotypes. For Edwards, Meghan's choices were always framed with a tone of condescension, particularly when discussing how she was navigating motherhood in a public role. The moment it was clear that Harry and Meghan were serious about giving Archie a normal life, the British tabloids began focusing on whether or not Archie would be given a royal title. The issue became compounded with speculation about his potential skin color and how the royal family might perceive him. These questions were pointedly racial, as they never seemed to arise for other royal children. When Harry and Meghan had Lilibet Diana in June 2021, the media's approach continued in the same vein. The press once again fixated on the title issue and questioned whether Lilibet, being the daughter of a non-white mother, would be subject to the same kind of privileges as other royal children. The undertone was clear. Both Archie and Lilibet's legitimacy as royal family members was questioned, partly based on Meghan's racial background. Edwards, who was well established in his career at this point, was a part of the narrative that underscored the obsession with Archie's race. His role in the media as a royal photographer came with influence, and yet, his opinions often reinforced the notion that the Sussexes' children were a deviation from the royal ideal, one that some were unwilling to accept. The media's focus on Archie's title, how it was denied and why it was being contested, was often framed with racial undertones that painted the Sussexes as outsiders, despite their direct lineage to the royal family. In March 2021, during Meghan and Harry's groundbreaking interview with Oprah Winfrey, the couple revealed that a member of the royal family had expressed concerns about the potential skin color of their unborn child, Archie. This revelation sent shockwaves through the media and around the world. It was a stark confirmation of what many had already suspected: there were deeply entrenched racial biases within the royal family and its interactions with Meghan. The public airing of these conversations gave voice to the systemic racism that Harry and Meghan had faced not just from the media but also from the institution itself. While the royals, including Prince Charles and Prince William, have denied such claims, the discussion sparked a wider conversation about how race plays a part in the British monarchy and its treatment of those who don't fit the traditional mold. The fact that Meghan, a biracial woman, was faced with these types of questions, especially regarding her children, shines a light on the deep-rooted racial prejudice embedded in royal tradition. Arthur Edwards, as a long-standing member of the press pool, was complicit in perpetuating such stories. While not the one directly involved in the private conversations Meghan and Harry revealed, Edwards' role in the media's treatment of the Sussexes helped solidify the racial undertones that framed their experience within the royal family. The relentless media targeting of the couple's children, coupled with these racially charged assumptions, is a clear indication of how the press continues to marginalize Meghan and her family. From the moment Meghan Markle became pregnant with Archie to the present day, the British press has shown a disturbing pattern of racial bias toward her children. Their race, their status, and even their very existence have been subject to invasive scrutiny, all filtered through a lens of prejudice. Figures like Arthur Edwards have been instrumental in perpetuating this narrative, reinforcing the notion that Meghan and Harry's children do not fit into the mold of traditional royal heirs.